The Miami Heat are quietly planning something massive after a huge trade update regarding one of the top players on this team who is still a new member of the Miami Heat. However, there are teams with interest, and also because of this, there is going to be a fallout for the Heat, which is their master plan that they are trying to execute, and we are going to break it all down. Guys, before we jump into that, make sure to subscribe. If you're part of that 80% that is not subscribed to Heat Digest, we have daily videos for you guys. We're on that grind right now. Houston and myself are going to put out so much stuff for you guys, so you do not miss anything on the Miami Heat. But let's jump into it, guys. There is a lot to talk about on the team right now, as there's been a lot of questions surrounding the team, surrounding Pat Riley, and what exactly the plan is moving forwards regarding the Miami Heat, because right now, where things stand, the Eastern Conference is very weak. The Boston Celtics are not really a factor this year. The Indiana Pacers, who made the finals, are not going to be a factor this year, and that leaves the Cleveland Cavaliers, New York Knicks, and Orlando Magic at the very top of the Eastern Conference. And when you look at those teams, it's very clear that the Miami Heat, through making one or two good moves, could certainly net them a chance to get right back into the swing of things and become one of the true contenders in the Eastern Conference once again. But it comes with being able to pull off a few different moves. The core of this team is not bad right now, behind Bam Adebayo, Tyler Herro. There's some good talents on this team. Andrew Wiggins. There's talent. This team has talent, but there's also been a lot of trade noise surrounding specifically Andrew Wiggins as of recently, as an NBA insider has revealed the truth on Andrew Wiggins' future with the Miami Heat. And jumping into this report, because this does have an implication on other stuff, specifically Herro as well. This offseason, the Miami Heat were willing to discuss trade scenarios involving Andrew Wiggins, and several teams expressed interest in the former NBA champion and All-Star wing. Now, the Bucks, league sources said, were one of the teams to inquire about Wiggins. While that ultimately kept the former first overall pick, while the Heat ultimately kept him, they were willing to deal Wiggins if they received an instant impact player along with an upcoming first-round pick before 2028. Now, obviously, the Bucks don't have a ton of assets here, and Andrew Wiggins was a solid player throughout this season, putting up 18 points per game and 4.5 rebounds with 2.5 assists, and playing very good defense, getting a steal per game, and also just being a good on-ball defender. Wiggins was a solid player, shooting 37.5% from 3 and 45% from the field, including 42% on corner threes. Andrew Wiggins showed that he can be a valuable impact player on a championship team. He showed that in 2022 when he was arguably the second best player on that Warriors championship team. So when you consider everything that this team has with Andrew Wiggins, he is a guy you look at as a good talent, but also a great trade chip who you could try to use to upgrade your team and get a better player in return. Now, when you look at Wiggins once he got to Miami, his numbers stayed similar. He put up 19 points per game. He had 4 rebounds, 3 assists. He shot well, shooting 46% from the field and 36% from 3. Wiggins had good numbers, and he's someone who certainly will garner interest from other teams if they see Wiggins as a good fit for their unit. Now, on top of that, when Wiggins was in the playoffs with the Warriors when they won the NBA championship, he averaged 16.5 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 2 assists, being their best defender, or best on-ball defender, I should say, throughout that time. So even though the field goal numbers were solid, but the three-point numbers took a bit of a dip at the 33% mark, he was still a huge impact player and was an all-star starter that season for a reason. Andrew Wiggins was balling out and helping them win games, and with that in mind, what ended up happening was the Warriors win the championship, and Wiggins' value skyrocketed. He finally felt like that first overall pick the teams were asking for because of his impact on winning, even if the raw numbers did not show it. Now with Miami, after the Jimmy Butler trade, Wiggins once again finds himself as a potential trade chip, but things are complicated. You look at his contract right now, he's got this year and then a player option that you could really expect him to opt into. It's not impossible that he opts out of it, especially if he has a great year at the Heat. I mean, there's a lot of scoring open for this team. If Andrew Wiggins has a 20-something point per game season, yeah, he'll probably opt out and try to get more money in free agency, which would be the right call. But also that player option at $36 million per year is very enticing, and he definitely will be taking that offer very seriously when considering everything. And I think it's actually around $30 million, not 36. Forgive me, my eyes are not great. So we're going to make this full screen to, $30 million per year. Again, same deal. If he plays like he did last year, it would not be shocking to see Wiggins just take that player option, have another year, and also then be an expiring contract. The Heat will look to make a trade there because they do want cap space going in to next offseason for multiple reasons. One of them being that there's a bunch of free agents and that the Heat are going to go big fish hunting as usual. And as long as that's the case, what we're going to see is a Miami Heat team that's trying to use Andrew Wiggins for their improvement, whether it's through using Wiggins as a player or using him as a trade chip. And considering they've already hoisted him up as a trade chip, it would not be the most shocking thing in the world to see them try to do that once again when it comes to Wiggins. A trade that, with the Bucks having interest, that I guess is the only thing that sort of makes sense. It doesn't make sense. This is a terrible trade for the Heat. I just want to make that very clear. Is like financially, the only thing that would have worked would be like Kyle Kuzma and Andre Jackson Jr. with a 2026 second favorable swap between three teams where the Bucks get the worst end of it and the Hawks get the best. And even still, like, the Heat, as you see on Fanspo, they lose wins off this trade, as they should, because this is a terrible trade. I'm not advertising them doing this trade. I'm saying if the Bucks made an offer and the Heat were like, we want an instant impact player and you need to match salaries, this is what, I mean, equals what probably is something we saw. But if I'm Pat Riley, there's no way in hell I'm doing that trade and getting Kyle Kuzma as my instant impact player. That's just not what the Heat are going to do here. It doesn't make any sense for them to do that unless you're really high on Andre Jackson Jr. and think you could do something with that first round pick, and you believe a team would take on Kuzma as you could use him as sort of another guy to flip. But even then, that's so many steps where you could just still have Andrew Wiggins for similar value to do that and take away a few of the steps in the process. So this trade does not make any sense. I just put it up as an idea of like what the Bucks could have offered. Now, Kuzma last season put up 15 points per game, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists, shooting 43% from the field and 30% from 3. He's had a bit of a fall from grace recently, and Andre Jackson Jr. really hasn't gotten a ton of time in the NBA yet. He's averaging 3.4 points, 3 rebounds, and shoots 39% from 3, which is nice, and 47% from the field. Feels like the type of player who he could find his way to the Heat and absolutely break out. But at the same time, that's really not what the Heat are looking for here. What the Heat are looking for is a way to really figure things out with getting a free agent, which is one of the big things we are going to see here from Pat Riley. But also the other side of this is Tyler Herro. Tyler Herro is going to be due for a contract extension soon, and that's going to play a part into everything as well, and the Heat needing some money. Herro right now has 2 years left on his deal, counting the 2025-26 season. He's not expected to sign an extension this year. It makes more sense for him to wait until next season when he's 27 years old and then sign a 4-year extension or hit unrestricted free agency at 28 and try to sign a 5-year deal with the Heat or end up running for the hills somewhere else. Because of that, Herro has found himself in a bit of trade rumors, but nothing too major at the moment because there's still a lot of time left on his deal. And as Brett Sigel mentioned, teams continue to monitor the Heat, specifically how they will handle Tyler Herro's upcoming extension window to get a better idea of what direction they are trending in. Herro last year put up 24 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 5.5 assists. He was an all-star, shot 37.5% from 3 and 47% from the field, including 45% on corner threes. Tyler Herro was excellent last year, and because of that, he is going to be a huge part of the Heat's future as long as they do decide to pay him, which is never a guaranteed with Pat Riley. But at the same time, what we're looking at here is this is one of the reasons why Wiggins is in trade talks, because the Heat want to have that money available so they could sign Herro and then go out and sign a free agent of their choosing instead of just getting Wiggins because the money works and he's a solid player. That's really the way that I see this. How do you guys see this? Let me know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day. I'll catch you on the next one.